This is Inside Innocent Minds, the platform for extraordinary people.
So one consistent question I believe that we should ask ourselves is, in this challenge with that issue and with that issue and with this other issue, was I at cause? Or was I at a what? At effect. Yeah. Was I at cause or was I at effect? I think it's because one of the presuppositions of NLP says, be at what? Cause, and do what? And help others to be at cause. Be at cause and help others to be at cause. Very, very important. Okay? And then with regards to what we just talked about in terms of our experiences after level 1, when you look at the goals and the intentions that we need to set every day, if you have really sat down to look at the plethora of challenges that have come your way, that gives you a pointer to what you should want to achieve. Human beings are creatures of what? We're creatures of what? Hello, look up please. Human beings are creatures of what? Habits. And you know, when we got here the last time, especially at NLP level 2, we kept talking about patterns, but the patterns are essentially about your habits, your habitual ways of thinking around anything in your life, and your habitual ways of doing anything in your life. Does that make sense? Your habitual ways of thinking and your habitual ways of acting in your world. So you and I have a way that we think, and we have a way that we do things. And the interesting thing is that 5% of how we think and how we do things is unconscious. So I speak with people and I hear feedback like this. You know, after the training, I just realized how powerful my unconscious is. That doesn't change anything. After the training, I just discovered that I'll put my unconscious in its place. That doesn't change anything. After the training, I now know how to arrange the unconscious and the unconscious. I'm like, really? And sometimes what I hear is a fascination with a new discovery about the unconscious way of thinking and doing things being 5%. What does that mean? You don't drive consciously. Largely, you drive with your unconscious habits. You don't cook consciously. The way that you cook has been so wired into you that it's unconscious. You don't sit on that seat consciously. You didn't come today and you said, okay, I'm going to sit with this side, and then I'll cross my leg like this. You don't even know why you did what you did right now where you're seated. Okay, it's 5%. But 95% of the things that you think and what you do is, this is supposed to be conscious, sorry. This is the unconscious. 95% is what? Unconscious. 95% is what? Unconscious. Is unconscious. So this is where the habit is. So when you went back to NLP level 1, you didn't need to begin to balance your unconscious and your conscious and do all the grammar that people say. What you needed to do was to realize, okay, I have been angry. I've been an angry person. I have been an unforgiving person. I have been this person who make people to tiptoe around me because I'm an explosive device walking around. So what I need to realize is that thing that I've been doing unconsciously, I need to realize and wake up and realize I do this every day. Okay? I do this every day. If there was any change that happened, you need to begin to be conscious of that change. You need to begin to be what? Conscious of that change. You know what many people do? They carry on and forget about the experience, and they begin to live in the trance that they were before they came to the training. They go back to the trance. So everything they learned becomes a concept in their head. It's a theory in their head. Okay? But what I need us to understand is we go back to living unconsciously. So the most victorious person on our planet today is the person who is living consciously. Because most of what we do them unconsciously. How can we begin to drive consciously? Intentionally. That's the key. How can we begin to spend money? Intentionally. How can we begin to make money? Intentionally. That is where mastery comes, and we're hoping that at the end of these 7 days, you will begin a journey of intentional living.
Innocent Minds.
So, think about your habits, even with learning. Think about your habits with learning. Think about this class this week. What are you going to challenge that you have always done in class that deliberately on your own quietly you are going to say to yourself, I'm not going to do this? Or when the speaker is usually speaking this way, this is how I'm thinking and this is what I'm thinking, and it's not empowering. Deliberately, intentionally, I'm not going to do this. Or you will slide back to habits. Okay? We are creatures of habits. And until we realize how habitually we get into this trance, and most of the trance is trance of what? Disempowerment. You remember what Milton Erickson said? Everyone is walking around in a trance of disempowerment. But he says we should choose our trance. Choosing your trance has that aura of intentionality behind it. So everybody in this class today, this is our new journey. It's not just discovering habits and patterns. It's now to be intentional. It's to be deliberate. And it's to be conscious. You say, hey, but 95% of the things we do them unconscious. Now, begin to think about it. That's what it means when they say most people are not thinking. Because when you are thinking, you are conscious. So we will begin to do things intentionally, deliberately, consciously, repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly until that correct way of doing things after so much repetition becomes our new unconscious. Okay? And then from time to time, that at some level may still not empower us. We need to again adapt and adjust in a different area of life. Do you understand that? After a while, that new us, we may meet a new work situation, we may meet a new broke situation, we may meet a new challenging situation with a child who is now a teenager, and then the old way which we have now become unconsciously competent at may no longer serve us. And what do we need to do? We need to adapt. We need to change. So many people say change is constant, but I'm not sure they know what they're talking about. This is what it means for change to be constant. That we are going to be making constant changes in our habits and in our patterns with a view to empowering ourselves. Else, we'll slide back into the 90% unconscious. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know why I do this thing. Is that clear?
This is Inside Innocent Minds, the platform for extraordinary people. Innocent Minds.
Please listen. your reality today and your reality yesterday is a big stumbling block for your ability to imagine a different future. Did you hear what I said? Yeah. Your reality today and your reality in the past is a big stumbling block, a big hindrance towards you imagining what is possible in the future. If I have never, my grandmother didn't like taking vehicles because in her generation, they walked. And let me give you this practically. Yesterday, somebody called me, my cousin lived with my grandmother and he just came from the village to do some work for me in Jos. Somebody called me and was complaining that she saw him walking somewhere and asked him if he needed money for transport. I said to her, but I just gave him 15,000 and I just visited Jocelyn. I gave him 15,000 and he should have no business working. Then it hits me. Oh, the people where he's coming from, they do a lot of walking. And so as far as it's concerned, it's not far. This place is like from here to Lekki actually. Yeah, and he's like, now, do you know that in this person's reality that day, he didn't imagine that somebody would give him a lift? So if you asked him to write a goal for this week, for that morning, he does not have the capacity to say, I am going to ride in a car from that. So his past and his occurring reality is not creating room for him to imagine. If you take that and you apply that to your life and the things that you really want to create, have you imagined yourself that in the next 3 years you begin to sit down in business class in international travel? You say, I never sit down for economy for local. Now international, will they talk about? So that's what I'm talking about. Why is it so impossible to have that reality? Turn your manual, let me show you something. Page 23.
This is Inside Innocent Minds, the platform for extraordinary people.